Alright, so what I'm going to do here is show you how to set up your ArchiCAD file for the vacation cabin project. When you first start ArchiCAD, this is going to be the startup screen that you see. Most of the time you're going to use the open project, and when you do that you'll see that it'll have some older projects or your project that you've seen. If it doesn't show up, you can click the browse for a solo project and then go browse right here. To start off, create a new project, use this ArchiCAD 13 template and go ahead and click new. Once this loads, you'll see the default settings for ArchiCAD. Now, sometimes this takes a few minutes. Alright, now that our program has loaded completely, you're going to see the basic ArchiCAD interface. This should be the default. Every time you open it up, it should look similar to this, although your project will be in there. You should have the navigator here on the right. You should have the toolbox on the left, and then the settings for the selected tool across the top. If for some reason it doesn't look like this, and say the navigator's missing or something along those lines, if you go up to Options and click on that, and then go to Work Environment, and then click on Work Environment again, it'll bring up an Options dialog where you can go ahead and select the Standard Profile 13, and when you hit OK, it'll put all of these boxes back where they belong. So just keep that in mind. If it doesn't work, go ahead and get a hold of me and we'll fix it from there. First thing I want you to do when you start your new file is to set up the project info. So if you go File, Info, and then Project Info, you're going to come in here and enter some basic information on your vacation cabin. For the client, you go ahead and put a name in for whoever you're going to be designing this for. You could have your parents, roommate, I don't care. We'll do Mr. and Mrs. Chuck Wagon, just because that's a name that I think would be interesting to put in there. Project name, Vacation Cabin. Project number, there is none. Company, this is where you put the high school name in. Bozeman High School. Street, that's the high school's address. 205 North, oh, got too many twos. 205 North 11th Avenue. In the city, Bozeman, MT 59715. Architect, this is where your name goes, so I will put your name here. Once you've got that, that's all the information you need. The rest of these fields we don't use, so you don't have to worry about filling them in. Go ahead and hit OK. You're not going to see a change anywhere over here. This is information stored in the project file, but later on when we actually get into doing the printouts, you'll see that this shows up in these title blocks. So the vacation cabin, the client name, that type of information. So now, second thing that you need to set up right away are the stories or the levels in your project. Now you have two levels at least, but you may have more. Every time you have a spot where someone stands, you need to have a separate floor. That may be if you have a sunken living room or something like that where it's a couple of steps down, you need to have a story. To set that up, it's pretty simple. Come over here to Stories, right click, and go Story Settings. Defaults to having a 10-foot difference between our floors. In the US, that doesn't work real well. We actually want to have an 8-foot ceiling and then 1 foot of floor structure, so our differences are going to be 9 feet. When I change this one to 9 feet, notice it automatically changes the next floor. I do need to change the height to next again to 9 feet. If you needed to insert a floor, you can insert one depending on where you want it, above or below and whatever's selected. So if I inserted one here, it would add a third floor. If I inserted one below, if we do that, you'll see that it actually inserts a second floor. The third floor has been set up. I don't need that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. The main thing is to make sure that you set up the floors that you're going to use as soon as possible. Trying to change these later on, once you've drawn walls and windows and things, and roofs especially, it can really cause problems. It can be done, but it will create more issues for you later on if you wait. So go ahead and get your stuff done early. Once you've got this done, you can go ahead and click OK, And at this point, you're going to be ready to start inputting the walls and doors, windows, and that type of thing into your project.